Let's tiptoe to a magical place, blast off and kiss the moon tonight. That is not Tom McDermott's theme song. That's the last track of the Silk Sonic album, by the way, Brian Gaddy. If Democrats want to steal that for their apparent new campaign, Brian Gaddy, Democratic insider, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, conservative commentator. As we talk about the political news of the week, and of course, the big story is the ad from Tom McDermott, former mayor of Hammond, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, in which he lights up Abdul on camera. This, I believe, is only the second time this has happened in the country. There was a candidate in Louisiana who did it, I believe. Abdul, of course, full disclosure, is pro marijuana legalization, I believe, at least in some forms and fashion. What, if anything, does this mean for the Senate campaign now that not just McDermott, but it appears this has become part of the Democratic platform, a major part of the platform?
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out because the polling shows overwhelmingly that Hoosiers support some form of legalization. 80% support medical marijuana, another 60% support marijuana for recreational purposes. So it's a very popular issue. However, it's a popular issue, but it's not necessarily a passionate issue. I mean, no one's going to go necessarily, to the polls and say, I'm going to vote for Tom McDermott because he smoked a joint in the state of Illinois and got it on camera. However, I think it does help folks who may be sort of disinterested in politics say, hey, maybe this is their issue. But the challenge with stoners is you got to get them to show up to vote.
Brian Gaddy, as a Democrat, does this issue get not just Democrats, but independents who might consider voting for a Democrat in an off year when we know turnout's going to be lower than usual? Will this get them to the polls to support a Democratic candidate?
I think it could. I mean, we know Gen Z and millennials, they're very pro legalization of marijuana. And we know that most young people definitely lean toward the Democratic Party. So if we have this as an issue, that could very well get a lot of younger voters out. And let's face it, young people do not vote in the strong numbers that older voters do. And this could very well be that issue, that sleeper issue that gets them out to vote.
It's only an issue, of course, because Indiana is the lone state among states around us that have either not passed marijuana legalization or have come close to it. Kentucky came close to it. They passed in the House. It died in the state Senate down there. But Illinois, Michigan, Ohio all have some form of legalization. Abdul, very interesting press conference that happened a couple days ago. Not only are Democrats leaning into this was a heavily Democratic press conference, but our old friend, former state senator, former mayoral candidate Jim Merritt, well-known Republican, also in attendance there.
Yes, Jim Merritt was there. Also, Evan McMahon, who's the chairman of the Libertarian Party of the state of Indiana. So, like I said, marijuana legalization has tripartisan support. Now, it was interesting because one of the big sort of angles that advocates took on this one was for veterans, because it was at the VFW Hall over on the 62nd Keystone or 54th Keystone here in Indianapolis. And so I thought it was interesting that, hey, veterans need it for PTSD, for other ailments. And so I thought it was interesting that they took that angle. Also, Mayor Tom McDermott sort of gave us the logistics of this marijuana commercial. He did it in Illinois over in Calumet City. He had a designated driver. They bought 4 joints at a dispensary. They went through the first 2, but they had to sort of ration out the second 2. Like neighbors wonder, hey, where was this guy in college when I needed him?
So Brian, again, it goes back, I guess, to how popular this issue is overall and whether this is something that can get people to the polls, because almost assuredly, I mean, we know how Governor Holcomb stands on this. He reiterated that again this week. His stance is, as long as it's against federal law and on the books, it's against federal law, then nothing is changing as far as he is concerned in Indiana. We haven't heard Senator Todd Young's take on this. I can't imagine it would be too different than that. But again, this is one issue that has broad support, but is it enough to not just help Tom McDermott, but to help Democrats across the board? Because Democrats across the board were at that news conference.
I think, again, it's an issue that can help us with younger voters. And you can't win as a Democrat, local elections, statewide elections, or even national elections without young voters. And whether it's Gen Z, whether it's millennials, they support legalization of marijuana. So, again, this is an issue that can really tap into that young vote and hopefully get them out to vote. Because if we don't have young voters, we cannot defeat the Republicans. So I really do think it's an issue we should lean in as Democrats.
Todd Young actually he did sort of state a position on legal marijuana back in 2014 when he was a candidate in the 9th Congressional District. Because I remember contacting his office once I saw the Tom McDermott commercial, and they emailed me the spot. And basically, Young said he supports medical marijuana, at the very least, things should be left up to the states to make that decision. So he kind of stuck out a position without staking out a position.
So he doesn't support the federal government taking action, but he does support the states potentially taking action. At least that was his position in 2014.
Yeah, particularly on medical marijuana. Recreational is a little bit of a different creature.
Right, yeah, and recreational, I think, still in Indiana is probably a hard push, especially when you can just go up to Michigan, I guess. What's fascinating to me about this, my wife went to Michigan recently, and there are billboards in northern Indiana that are basically saying, hey, come to Michigan and you can do this. I don't know how specific they are. I'm very curious, and this may be something we can delve into later as to why those are legal, why that message is legal in Indiana, why they can advertise, hey, come to Michigan and get high, when you can't, say, do cigar ads, Abdul, to delve into one of your passions there. You can't do those in Indiana, but you apparently do weed billboards advertising the state of Michigan.
Oh, yes, because if I want to say, if I remember correctly, the billboard's actually advertising the dispensary, not necessarily the smoking of marijuana. So it can be some edible, vape form, you name it. So I'm assuming that has something to do with the advertising. Also, marijuana isn't pure tobacco, so to speak, as well. But what I do think, though, is interesting that on 420, Michigan saw a lot of Hoosiers show up, and also in my home state of Illinois, because there's a dispensary literally right across the border, literally 5 minutes from the time you cross the Indiana border to the time you hit exit 220. Just make a right and go half a mile, and there it is. Not that I know this from personal experience. I just, you're a reporter, you got to know these.
Of course
things.
not. Yes. As a credential, just how you earn your credentials as a journalist, or one way. If you're
exactly. But it was interesting, though, to see all the Hoosier license plates in the parking lots, because it was like being at the Motor Speedway. And what I noticed was, it wasn't your long beard, sort of Cheech and Chong-esque type stoner people. These are doctors, these are lawyers, these are actually a lot of older white women who have sort of medical conditions, whether it's arthritis or some sort of rheumatoid pain. And so they're the ones who are going into these dispensaries, getting the product to deal with their pain.
See, that's why I think it's just really ridiculous as a state we do not just go ahead and legalize marijuana, because that's money we're losing to neighboring states like your home state of Illinois. So we just really need to just get with the program and get this done. I know it's not going to happen with Governor Holcomb, but hopefully with a future governor it will happen, a future Democratic Party governor.
We only have a little bit of time here left, and I wanted to get something, speaking of health and wellness, kind of tied into that. Some comments that David Ricks made. David Ricks, of course, is the chairman and CEO of Eli Lilly here in Indianapolis. And he made some comments to the Economic Club a couple days ago that I wanted to delve into, because they're getting a lot of attention in political circles. And anytime that Lilly, and I guess you could say this about other companies too, but Lilly especially, them being headquartered here in Indianapolis, being one of the major employers in Indiana, when they invest in other states, for example, they're investing a lot in North Carolina, the Triangle area, Raleigh-Durham, that area. They're investing a lot in some other places instead of putting that money in other places here in their home state. Why that is, David Ricks, Abdul, basically bluntly said that Indiana has kind of an education problem and a health and wellness problem as far as its workforce and its future workforce goes.
Yes, I mean, and I'm a member of the Economic Club, but I remember watching his speech like, yep, he's got a point, because Indiana does well with a low tax climate and sort of less rules and regulations to attract the workforce, but still got to have an educated workforce. You got to have a healthy workforce, and Indiana is horrible when it comes to Hoosier health. We're one of the lowest states in the nation, as well as education. We could do a whole lot better. So Mr. Riggs was absolutely right. I agree with him wholeheartedly, 100%, and also. To show up in places is going to take those quality of life type issues. It's going to take more than roads, more than bridges. It's going to take parks, amenities, and an educated and a healthy workforce.
pro-business has always been the Republican Party's calling card, Abdul. So they're always touting the low-tax climate, the pro-business climate of Indiana, and yet they seem to be getting the opposite message, or it's having not necessarily the opposite effect, but yeah, as you put it, we got a lot of low-income jobs, we got a lot of warehouse jobs in Indiana, but when it comes time to invest in higher-paying jobs, higher-skilled jobs, it looks like people are not necessarily choosing the low-tax, quote-unquote, pro-business climate here.
Yes, it reminds me of an article that was written by Accelerated Indiana Municipalities, Matt Greller, a couple years ago. He said it's not your father's economic development anymore. It's not just, it's not just a tax break or a new road or new sewer lines. It's quality of life issues, it's education, as well as the workforce. And Indiana needs to adapt to that. I think the state is on the road to doing that. It's going to take a while. It's going to take Indiana to that next level.
Brian, what are the Democratic plans to address this issue? Because, I mean, you're in the minority in the legislature. You can push for education funding, but you're only going to get so far with a specific Democratic proposal, given your position in the legislature. What do Democrats think about this issue, and what do you think needs to be done to address it?
Well, it's like what Abdul was saying. I mean, you got to have quality of life issues. It's more than just a tax cut and low regulation. If you got a state where you got the far right of the Republican Party pushing anti-LGBTQ bills and attacking gay Hoosiers, that's going to also chase away business opportunities for our state. So it's more than just a tax cut. I know Republicans love to say, oh, we're cutting taxes, oh, low regulations. Well, you also have to have a very hospitable state. We cannot be a state that promotes hate. And again, we were talking about this last week. We got to stand as Hoosier Democrats against hate politics. And unfortunately, Republicans are promoting hate politics. That also chases away business opportunities. That also leads to young people not wanting to stay here in Indiana. So again, it goes to the quality of life issues, but it also goes to having a hospitable climate for all people, all Hoosiers, where all people feel welcome. So that's really important as well. Absolutely.
Imagine this will be a hot topic next year. I know we got to wait a whole year for the next legislative session, but it is a budget year, and there won't be a big influx of federal money coming in this time. So certainly a lot to talk about then. But we always have a lot to talk about week in and week out with our insiders, Brian Gaddy, Abdul Hakim Shabazz. We'll talk to you next week, gentlemen.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Hey, come on now. Said it last week, this show is rated PG. As you can probably tell by the blue content there, today is the day of the green, St. Patrick's Day. You could spend it quietly with the great Michal O'Meara Hartig making you the perfect sandwich.
Pizza and shin, agus pizza and Dave shin.
Or you could do as WRTV legend Reed Duffy did 41 years ago and spend a loud, somewhat debaucherous religious holiday with the great Gordon Pipers. So loud our old videotape machines had to shake out the cobwebs, apparently, and they hadn't even had anything to drink yet. The Gordon Pipers had a full day of, activities every St. Patrick's Day, all because of their founder, a Canadian veterinarian turned Hoosier.
The Gordon Pipers have been an essential part of St. Patrick's Day in the city since 1962, when Dr. Wallace Gordon Deal founded this windy organization. Before the celebration ends, they'll have found their way to 15 watering holes throughout the city, luring till about 3 in the morning. They tuned up at the brand new Union Jack and Speedway, where they'll wind up about midnight, no doubt in peak condition and feeling no pain. Such is the lure of the bagpipe, one of mankind's oldest, most traditional instruments, especially in Scotland, where most are made and tenaciously cherished, as Dr. Deal found out one day in 1954, when his wife sought to purchase a used bagpipe from a Scottish dealer in his native Canada.
So she goes into the store, and an old Scotsman comes out, and he says, "Can I help you, lassie?" And she says, "Well, yes, I'm kind of looking for a used set of bagpipes." What? He says, "There's no such thing as a used set of bagpipes." He says, "They're a personal matter." And he had her in tears. So he told her, "Well, you got to buy a practice chanter and a book and learn. And when you can play 5 tunes on that practice chanter, we'll think about selling you a set of bagpipes."
Thankfully, Dr. Deal learned his 5 songs, got his precious pipes, and got others to join along with him. And just like the mayor doing goofy waves and dances and this dude in the wig and the kilt, Really, man? Really? The Gordon Pipers, to this day, remain a cherished Indianapolis tradition. Soshina Gabe with Throwback Thursday, Ray Steele, WRTV.